get started here. This is actually being recorded. So I know there's quite a few companies that signed up. So if you're not able to attend, we'll get this out to everybody too as well. But just want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to join us today, learn a little bit about what we have going on here at Midstates with Midstates Connect. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw those in the Q&A. And then what we'll do is try to answer those at the end. If not, if we do not get to them, we'll try to attend to those after the meeting too as well. And then we'll send out a recording after this afterwards to everybody too as well. So my name is Tyler Hansen. I'm the VP of Marketing and New Business Development here at Midstates. Terry is also joining me. I'll let you introduce yourself, Terry.
Yes, so I'm the product specialist for the Connect program, and I'll be taking you through this really cool omni-channel platform today after Tyler takes care of the first few slides. And like he said, if you guys do have any questions, just make sure you put them in the chat, and if we don't get to them immediately, we'll make sure to get to them at the end. All right, let me share my screen for you. All right.
All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Midstates Connect. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you some high level things on direct mail. I want to go to the next slide there, Terry. So the biggest thing just from Midstates here that we're seeing, obviously, why direct mail works. Obviously, it's tangible, it's memorable. There's a targeted reach to who you're actually going after for that specific list. There's less competition. There's high engagement. One of the things that it's more trustworthy as we become as digital noise becomes so big out there. There's a little bit higher engagement. The other nice thing is you are able to personalize it. So there's so many things you can do from a direct mail piece to personalize that, whether it's put their name on it or put a personalized QR code on there, things like that, which in return we see a little bit higher ROI on that kind of thing. I want to go to the next slide there. But obviously we see challenges with it. So with direct mail challenges, we see, changing consumer behavior, multi-channel integrations. Measuring ROI is tough when you're doing a campaign on direct mail, email, digital, all separate. It's really hard to kind of bring those all back together and actually combine those and figure out what was your ROI, or where did that customer come from? Did they come from this area or this area? And then you get into your data privacy and security situations too as well. I don't know how many of you guys attended the USPS postal webinar last Friday, but one of the biggest things I took away from that is I was really surprised that from 3 years ago, one of their statistics is 86% of consumers say that mail is more important than it was actually 3 years ago, because what they're seeing is that from boomers all the way up to the Gen Zs, that Gen Zs actually have a 50% higher rate of actually wanting to see a physical piece versus the boomers did way back in the day. So I thought that was an interesting takeaway. So, but going into today's market, what we're seeing that is almost just even more important is why companies should actually use an omni-channel approach on top of their direct mail piece. Okay. The biggest thing is it breaks through digital clutter. There's a lot of digital noise out there. So direct mail stands out in an oversaturated digital world and grabs real attention, because using an omni-channel on a direct mail list will use all your digital spend on that list versus who knows what it actually is hitting out there, whether it's somebody that's clicking on it that doesn't even apply to what you're looking for, things like that. It also drives a higher response rate. So we found that combining mail with digital channels increases your engagement and conversion up to 46%. It also builds trust and credibility. So a tangible mail piece feels more personal, legitimate than online only messages. We all see it out there today looking at digital ads. It's like, which one of these is actually real? Which one's not real? And, sometimes it's confusing, and we're clicking on stuff and we find out it's actually not real, or maybe it is real. So tying a piece to that when you're trying to advertise digitally builds a lot of trust and credibility. It also creates consistent brand touch points. So obviously we all know it takes more than just one touch point to get somebody to sometimes buy your product. So reinforcing that message across mail, then email, then web, then social for a stronger recall will increase your response rate too on top of it. And it also enhances tracking, measurability of spend. Terry's going to get into this a little bit, but Midstates Connect really shows exactly where that engagement is coming from, gives you good reporting, so that way you can measure your ROI. So, and combining the two, what we found is delivers a better ROI. So coordinating print and digital campaigns outperform single channel efforts with higher response rates all the way up to, like I said a little bit earlier, 46%. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Terry. He's going to kind of go through our Midstates Connect program, give you some details, and go from there.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. So the program that we're going to talk about today is Midstates Connect, right? Which is a program that we simply just use it to track the effectiveness of your direct mail and to help lift the response and the results that you're seeing from that direct mail campaign by using some different digital platforms. So in its purest, most simplest form, it's a way for us to track effectiveness and lift results. Now, this program, we've actually used it across a bunch of different industries, from nonprofits, financial services. We used it a ton in the retail space, higher education, everything from your local private school up to huge universities, right, for new admissions, for example. So a lot of different industries that we can use this in. Okay. Now, also, one thing that I did want to mention, and I'm sure that the vast majority of you guys, as we go through these different channels, are going to say, yeah, well, we are using those channels in some capacity. And that's great. Midstates Connect is in no way, shape, or form a replacement for what you're currently doing as far as digital marketing. So if you are using some of these different channels to promote your products or services, and it's working, you should definitely continue to do so. What's really unique about Connect is that it is a direct mail centric product where, again, we're just using these channels to increase the response rate from those direct mail recipients and to prove attribution from the campaign itself. Now, with any Connect program, we do use an omni-channel marketing approach. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar, or at least heard the term, or definitely heard the term multi-channel marketing. And the difference between omni and multi-channel, when you're using a multi-channel approach, it just means you're using multiple channels to promote that product or service, whether that be social, direct mail, TV, radio, etc. But the vast majority of the time, actually over 96% of the time, when companies are using this approach, depending on which channel that they're using, they might be using different messaging, right? Different offers, and almost always to a different audience. So what an omni-channel approach allows us to do is to take that same exact marketing message, same imagery, same call to action that's on that direct mail piece, but use it across multiple channels, and most importantly, to the exact same audience. That audience being that really qualified mailing list that's been put together for this campaign. And what we're able to do through Midstates Connect is we're able to take that one impression on that physical postcard, letter, whatever the format, and turn that into either between 8 and 32 impressions per piece. And by doing so, we have seen a 23 to 46% lift in results over what our clients were seeing when they were just running a traditional direct mail campaign, right? And just getting that one impression to that one individual. But again, that's huge, because it really does give you the ability to take advantage of every opportunity from that qualified list. Now, another huge benefit of Connect is definitely the transparency in the reporting and the results. So we are able to provide you access to a dashboard, and within that dashboard, you can go in and view all current and previous campaign results. So you're able to view high-level reporting, so numbers like total ad displays across all of the channels that we're using, total engagements, which an engagement can be a call, a text, a click, a QR code scan, right? Any sort of response that we receive from this campaign, total leads, which we'll get into when we get to that technology, and we even have what's called an attribution column. So there's several technologies where we can not only track that, hey, this was a response from this campaign or this channel, we can actually tie it back at an individual level and tell you who responded, how they responded, and when they responded. Now, through Connect, we actually have 4 different bundled platforms that you would have access to, okay? And depending upon the industry that you're in, the audience that you're trying to reach, what channels that you might be currently using, we'll actually be able to create a customized marketing plan by using some of these different technologies. And we even have the ability to use some of them on an a la carte basis. Okay. So I'll remind you about this at the end of the call, but we will be able to set up a one-on-one consultation where we can learn a little bit about your organization and come up with a customized plan that's going to fit your needs. Now, our first bundled solution is what we call our basic program. And we call it our basic program because it was the first and the original 8 technologies that we've created, and we've since built upon that, of course. And the way that it works is all of these technologies will be included in this package. And our campaigns, they do run for a total of 30 days. Now, keep in mind when I say 30 days, that is 30 days from each mail drop. And we even have options to extend it in 30-day increments even beyond that. Very common for us to set up basically one campaign for a client that just runs kind of indefinitely, where we're uploading new data on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. Now, first of all, I wanted to talk about mail tracking. Right? So obviously you're sending out a direct mail piece. So we do want to make sure that that mail piece is reaching its intended audience. So when you look into the dashboard, you're going to be able to see information like when that mail piece is projected to reach the mailbox, when it's confirmed to have reached, the percentage that's been delivered. It's integrated with Google Maps, so you can scroll down to a street level view to see exactly when and where that mail is being delivered to. You can see the mailing list to the bottom right. It shows all the mailing list information as far as first name or business name, address, city, state, zip, and you can filter that data all the way down to a per piece level just to confirm that the mail has actually been delivered. Now, other benefits to mail tracking. If we know when the mail is going to be arriving, we can be ready for that influx in phone calls or foot traffic or web traffic. Right? And if we do have additional data points like email or phone number, you can run some of those other marketing campaigns based off of that data. Right? If we have an email address, for example, we see the mail is going to deliver next Tuesday. Maybe you send out an email blast the day of or the day after that references the mail piece and the offer that's being included. Oh, sorry. Not sure what happened there. Give me 1 second. All right. And also I wanted to talk about social match, right? So this is actually going to run for the first 14 days of that campaign, okay? So we're actually able to take that mailing list, upload that information into Facebook and Instagram, identify the social media accounts of those mail recipients, and then serve them up ads across Facebook and Instagram for the first 14 days of that campaign. So what this really does for us is creates brand awareness, right? Recognition around that offer, right? To those mail recipients, making it more likely for them to engage, respond, and in the end, actually convert from the mail piece itself. So those ads will be run through Facebook as well as Instagram. And just like direct mail, it is a one-to-one technology, right? You're not going to see those advertisements unless you're actually on the mailing list. Now, Tyler brought up the USPS meeting they had last Friday, right? And they were really big and talking about informed delivery. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar or even signed up for informed delivery. Those of you that are not, this is a free service that you can sign up for through USPS, okay? And what it is it's basically just a digital way for you to check your mailbox. So anyone that's signed up for this service, you'll receive an email each morning from USPS. And it'll show like this on the screen. It's basically just a digital image, right, of what's going to be in your mailbox. So just that scanned image. What we do is we deliver a campaign on top of it where not only will you see that grayscale image, but we add a full color ride along image that has a clickable link that will go right to your destination URL or your conversion page on your website. Just another impression, right? Another great opportunity for us to get in front of those mail recipients even before the mail arrives, while at the same time giving them an easy way to respond by clicking on the link. Now, we will be able to show you the total number of emails that were sent out, the open rate, the click-through rate. One thing that is proprietary to our Connect program is the ability to do a match back to the reporting sent back to us from the post office. And what this allows us to do is to actually show you in relation to the mailing list information, first name, last name, address, who received, opened, and more importantly, who actually clicked on that informed delivery ad. As most of you guys know, just because someone clicks on an ad, it does not mean that they necessarily completed that conversion process. But it does tell us that there's a high level of interest. So that tells us that they didn't convert, this is someone we should continue to market to, and we should definitely be following up with because there is that high level of interest. The next tech being QR codes. Now, through our QR code system, we have two different types that we can use. So the first one being we can use a static QR code, which just means we create one QR code, we print that same QR code on each and every mail piece. It gives those users an additional way to respond by scanning it and going to that destination URL. And then we can track the total number of scans. Now, of course, the reporting, it is aggregate, right? Meaning we don't know who scanned, we just know how many. The second option, which I really love and hope you'll take advantage of, is the utilization of personalized QR codes. So in that case, every single mail piece has its own unique identifiable QR code. And now we can track not only the total number of scans, but we can also see who from that mailing list scanned that QR code. We can see a time and date of each scan, the location, even the device type that they were on when they made that QR code scan. So same value in knowing who clicked on that informed delivery ad, right? If we can identify these people that have that high level of interest, we can continue to market to them even if they didn't convert on that first encounter. So call and text tracking, this is certainly more of an attribution tool more than anything else, right? So what we can do is we can provide you with either a toll-free phone number or a local phone number, right? Local to the area code that you're mailing to or that you're located in. And it's basically just a vanity number. So a number that's not going to display anywhere other than the direct mail piece itself. But of course, that number will transfer directly to your phone line, whatever phone line you want those calls to be filtered to. So someone calls in, they get transferred directly to you, and now we have the ability to track all of this reporting and data. So we can see the time and date of the call, the phone number, name, address, whether it's a landline or cell phone, age range, gender data. All these calls are automatically recorded, right? So you can go into your end of the dashboard, listen to these calls, review them for quality assurance purposes, figure out how to improve closing percentages. With the texting feature, it's not a situation where we're sending out outbound text messages, which they would have to opt in to receive. It's more of a text response system. So using the example on the screen, right, it was for FSU, right? So they're wanting people to click to obviously fill out an application. So they put on the direct mail piece, call or text apply to this number, being the call tracking number. They text in, we send them back a fixed response. Ideally, like on the screen, has some sort of link to that conversion sign up page on the website. But we just love the idea of giving them multiple ways to respond and for us to have some sort of tracking component on the back end to prove that these responses took place from this campaign. So now we get into some of the follow-up that's going to happen digitally, right? So we know that even from direct mail, which is an offline marketing channel, that a large percentage of those people that are going to respond will respond by visiting your website first. So before they pick up the phone and call or go to a brick and mortar location, chances are they're going to visit your site. And that a large percentage of those website visitors are going to leave without taking any sort of action, okay? So this really tells us that we need to follow up with them through these channels. So through online follow-up, which is all done through the Google Display Network on all of those major websites that we have access to, like the CNNs of the world, Fox News, ESPN, for example, okay? So they come to the website, they pick up a code that gets attached to their device, and now they're eligible to see those remarketing ads show up all across Google, the Google Display Network, which again covers about 90% of the internet. So great way for us to keep that messaging at top of mind for those people that did engage but didn't convert. Now there's multiple ways that we can set up remarketing. So we can set it up to only track off of a specific page related to the product or service that you're marketing for. We can even do it by location, right? We might track the entire site, but only remarket within the areas that we actually mailed to. So we do prevent as much overlap as possible with what your current digital or current remarketing strategy is, but this allows us to still use that omni-channel approach where that messaging that they're seeing is in line with the direct mail piece as well as those front-end advertisements. And we can view our total ad displays, our total clicks, and ad views per day through online follow-up. Social media follow-up, it's the same concept, right? They come to the website or that specific page or come to the site and are within the areas we mailed. And now they're eligible to see those follow-up ads show up all across Facebook, all across Instagram. Social is great because it does allow us to not only show these ads across multiple channels, but we can also display them across multiple devices. So through remarketing, we're really able to inundate a small number of really qualified individuals with a large number of advertisements for the life of this campaign. And again, we can view our total ad displays, our total clicks, total ad views, total clicks per day. Now, the last technology that's going to be included in our original 8 is going to be lead match. Now, what lead match is it's just a pixel, just a piece of code that we provide you to place on the website or specific page or pages. And what this code does is it uses different data points like location data, IP address, device ID. And using these different data points, we can identify the residential and or business address of an anonymous website visitor. Now, being full transparent, we cannot identify 100% of website traffic, right? So on average, we might identify 20 to 30% of website visitors. So we do use it to help prove attribution by providing you with a match rate. So using the example on the screen, we could say through this pixel, we were able to identify 78 addresses that came to the website that are also on your mailing list. Now, with that being said, there's going to be a lot more people that come to your site from other sources, whether it be organic website traffic or other marketing campaigns that you guys already have running, people we don't have contact information on. So addresses we capture that are not on the mailing list are going to show up as a lead. So you'll be able to see the total number of leads and the total number of matches. If you do decide to download this data, we'll provide you with a detailed lead match report. And in that report, not only will it show you the address of this visitor, but it also shows you information on what they were viewing on the site. So date of the first and last visit, date of the first and last URL that they actually visited, as well as all of that address information. And that gives you the ability to remarket and retarget them with a physical direct mail piece. And we can even personalize it based upon their website activity and exactly what they were viewing while they were on the site. We do have the ability to set this up for auto delivery. We can set it up by frequency. So, hey, we want to download these leads every day or every 7 days or every 30 days, right? The quicker we get it out, the better it's going to perform, of course. Or by quantity. Every time we hit 1,000 leads, we want to automatically download and mail some sort of retargeted direct mail piece to those individuals. This is also a feature that we can use as a standalone feature. We can set up what's called a lead match only campaign, where we provide you with this pixel. You place it on the website, we can track site-wide or specific page or pages, okay? And then download with any degree of frequency that you actually decide on and run that retargeted direct mail. And as a bonus, for anyone that's actually attending the webinar or listening to the recording, we are going to provide this pixel to you for free, which we can generate within about an hour to place on your website. And we can start capturing and identifying the addresses of people that are visiting your website. So reach out to Tyler or your contact over at Midstates, and we'll be able to get this pixel on ASAP so we can start identifying some of that traffic. Now, the next bundled tech, as you can see, it does include all of the original 8, okay? But we've also added 4 additional features. So our Connect Plus program is really for those companies that have more of a saturated list, meaning by location, or for those companies that are also looking to cast a much wider net digitally and bring more people into the marketing funnel that may or may not even be on the mailing list, but have displayed some level of interest in your organization or the products or services that you offer. So through our Plus program, we include 4 additional features, which is we can run ads on demand gen for one. So demand gen is actually a 3-for-1. These will show up on the YouTube homepage. They'll show up in the promotions tab of a Gmail account, so like an email marketing campaign through Google. And they'll also show up on the Google Discover feed. So this is mobile device specific. So if you get on your cell phone, go to google.com where the search browser is and scroll down, we can place advertisements there. And you can see the total ad displays and the clicks through all of these 4 different geo-targeting features. We can do geo-targeting across the Google Display Network and show you the same data. Social media geo-targeting, so this will be through Facebook as well as Instagram. And, which I really love, the ability to put video content in front of that qualified audience by running ads through YouTube. So either show before the video starts or in the middle of the video. We normally recommend them being 15 to 30 seconds, short, sweet, to the point, but do a great job of creating that awareness. So through our Connect Plus program, not only are we targeting those mail recipients that met that criteria to be on that qualified list, but we can also cast a much wider net digitally through some geo-targeting features and target based upon location, search and browsing history, and we can even overlay that with demographic information, okay? Plus, we can get double the exposure. So instead of like with basic, getting 8 to 16 impressions per piece, we can get 16 to 32 impressions per piece that you mailed out. Now, with our Midstates Connect Pro platform, right, this is not about expansion whatsoever. This is as hyper-focused on the mailing list as you can be. So as you can see, we're still able to utilize social match because this is a one-to-one technology. So we're identifying the social media accounts of those mail recipients, but instead of just serving them up ads through social match for the first 14 days, we're going to run it for the entire 30. So for the entire 30 days, we're identifying those social media accounts, serving them up ads all across Meta in their news feeds as well as stories, and we can use a still ad or video content for that feature. We're still getting mail tracking, QR codes, informed delivery, call and text, and lead match. But one of the biggest technologies that we're going to show a lot of advertisements through is going to be addressable geo. So with addressable geofencing, this allows us to geofence every single address that's on the mailing list and serve up ads to any device that's connected to the internet and within that household. Okay, so whether they're on a cell phone, a home computer, tablet, even a connected TV, it's connected to the internet, it's within that household, we can potentially reach them on over 200 different display networks. So virtually anywhere and everywhere that they visit while they're online. Now, this isn't IP-based targeting. This is us actually using verified GPS data like latitude and longitude of property lines to map out these addresses to serve up ads to those mail recipients. And you can see up to a 90% match rate. So what that means is in the United States, we have over 90% of the addresses actually mapped out, and our reach rate is pretty phenomenal through this one feature. These ads will also run for the entire 30 days of that campaign. So we're showing those ads before the mail even arrives to create that awareness, and weeks after the mail has actually arrived through all of these different display networks. So on the B2C side, pretty simple how we're actually targeting. And there's also multiple ways for us to be able to prove conversion from addressable geo as well. So we can prove on-site and off-site conversions. So on-site, we will actually provide you with a conversion pixel to place on the site. So if they click on one of these ads, goes to the website, fills out a form, or makes a purchase, that will show up in the reporting as a weighted action. Now, for those of you that might be in, say, the retail space, or the call to action is to come into a brick and mortar location, say a bank or somebody in financial services, we can also geofence your location and turn that into our conversion zone. So we can track that, hey, that mobile device that was in that address that we displayed ads also came into your brick and mortar location to prove offline conversions as well. And we can see our total impressions across addressable geo, our total clicks, total click-through rate percentage, how many devices that we're able to reach, average number of impressions displayed across those devices, our total weighted actions, of course. And for those of you that are in the B2B space, right, well, chances are we're not going to want to geofence a business location, because if we do, we could potentially show ads to anyone that enters that geofence location, when in actuality, we want to reach decision makers. We even have the ability to, you can provide us with a list of businesses and job titles, and we're able to build what's called a device graph, which is basically us just identifying the devices of individuals within those businesses that fit those particular job titles. And we can run ads to them for the entire 30 days of that campaign. So literally a straight line connection right to those decision makers within those businesses that fit those job titles. And the last one is going to be our Midstates Connect Platinum program. So it includes everything that's in our basic program, plus we're going to include addressable geofencing. So this is kind of like your all-encompassing digital on top of a direct mail program. If you think about it this way, we have a lot of outbound advertisements, right? The direct mail piece itself to drive traffic, social match as far as outreach, informed delivery, as well as addressable geo. And then we're driving them into our marketing funnel and pushing them down that conversion by remarketing to them across Google, by remarketing to them across social, and possibly capturing their address to remarket to them with a follow-up postcard as well if they didn't convert from some of these digital components. We can also get double the exposure. So again, we can get 16 to 32 impressions as opposed to 8 to 16. Now, the last feature that I'm going to talk about is our mail delivery notification. This is a feature that we can use as a standalone or can be added on to any of our bundled solutions, which is mail delivery notification. I like to present this as kind of like a cross between your fully customizable, personalized email marketing campaign and what you're getting with informed delivery. Right? It is mail centric, where we do want to display an image of the direct mail piece itself. And we can send it out because it is triggered by mail tracking the day before the mail arrives, the day after, or both. So it is a maximum of 2 emails per recipient. We can customize it, of course. We can customize the subject line, the body. We can enter in a video or a still image if you wanted to into the email alert. And you're going to get quite a bit of data. So we're going to be able to show you the emails that were sent out, how many were opened, how many were clicked on. And it's a great attribution tool because we can actually tell you who from that list clicked on any of these mail delivery notifications as well. Now, of course, the proof is in the pudding, so I do like to share a couple of our case studies at the end, right? So the first one is actually for a nationwide swim school, and they launched, it was our basic program, so our original 8 technologies for each and every one of its location, which was, they have like over 150 different locations. So they mailed over 321,000 pieces. And as a result of the campaign, they were able to bring in 1,845 new members. Now, based on their lifetime, their lifetime value of each new student, they're looking at potentially generating close to $2 million just from this one campaign. Now, the next case study is actually for a Mexican restaurant, and they're near a major college campus. It's an SEC school in the South. It's basically a college town. And one of the challenges that they had was their goal was really to reach these college students, which the vast majority of them actually live in dorms. So EDDM, as tempting of a solution as it is, actually does not work for dorms. So they were actually able to build a really qualified list to mail to those individuals. And then we tacked on a plus program. So basically what they were doing from a direct mail perspective is they were capturing every single address within, I think it was a 2-mile radius around each of those Mexican restaurants. And we were able to build that same restaurant digitally through our plus program, through geo-targeting, to target that same exact audience. And the call to action was they were giving away 1 free taco for redemption, which they had a 5.5% redemption rate. And this was actually a 60-day campaign for them for both restaurants. And they were up 50% for those 2 months when they ran this campaign as opposed to the months prior. But overall, like we talked about, our primary goal is to take that 1 impression, turn it into 8 to 32 impressions, reach that qualified audience across multiple channels, multiple devices, while at the same time giving you access to all this reporting and data so we can really get a good gauge on how effective that it was, right? And really be able to gauge return on investment from where your dollars are going. Now, of course, as we go through this, I'm kind of speaking in generalities, right? Because we have a lot of different businesses, a lot of different industries. We will actually set up a customized plan for you. So definitely reach out to us and we'll have that one-on-one consultation to learn more about what it is that you do, the audience that you're trying to reach, and we'll be able to create a customized marketing plan by using some of these different channels.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Terry. I don't know if anybody had any questions. Feel free to throw them in the chat or Q&A. If not, we can definitely follow up on those as well, like Terry said. So.
Oh, and reach out about your free pixel for a lead match.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't see any questions, but that's okay. But thank you for everybody that attended. We'll be in touch. And like Terry said, we're more than willing to jump on an additional call. And all these are very customized. So depending on what you're doing, if it's B2C, B2B, things like that. So thank you again for attending, and we will be in touch. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.